All right, I've been making a new base mesh for the past week. I feel like I'm done with the base mesh and now it's time to start rigging. So I followed the YouTube tutorial series from CG Dive called Rigging Isn't Scary. So if you haven't seen that series, go watch it very quickly. You'll get a sense pretty quickly if it's at or above your level. If you are totally following along and understand everything in level 1 and level 2, then you're caught up to where I'm at. I'm starting on level 3. If any of level 1 or level 2 seem confusing to you, then make sure you follow that tutorial series before you start here, because definitely this is going to be very advanced. Uh, we're going to start from level 3, put the rig on Gazelle here, and then we're going to start doing some advanced things beyond that. So the first thing to do is add an armature, which I've already done. I started and created a root bone here. Let's change the color of this one. A root bone I'm going to make this violet color. Okay, so you add a root bone. I'm going to add, I guess one important thing is set the, I've set the armature view to in front, like he says, and then I've chosen display as wire. And then for the, what is this armature? What is this? Data. In the data tab, I've set the viewport display to be bone. My Blender version is hacked up a bit, so all of my B-bones, uh, as you can see, are tapered. That's where you know where the head and tail is. This is very special. I've compiled Blender specifically to do that. Your Blender will not do that, but it's the same functionality. It's just I can tell by looking where the head and the tail of the bone are. So I'm going to make those bones a little bit smaller. I've named them all what they need to be named. Well, I guess I haven't. Head here, neck is this next one down, and then spine 3, 2, and 1 down here, and then spine, I guess, 0 if you want to think of it as that. And then this one here is a tailbone. I'm going to do things slightly differently than in CG Dive's tutorial. I'm going to have a few extra bones here and there, but for the most part, I'm going to be following along. So now, a really great trick that he taught me is if you're, say you're extruding this, you want it to be at the center of the volume, then you can hold down the control key and it'll place it at the center here, assuming that your snapping is the volume here, which mine is. Another thing I'm going to do is when I get down to her foot, I'm going to be putting in metatarsals and toe bones and everything. So this is forearm, not the L. And then let's see here. Let's keep that. Actually, I should tell it that. Keep offset. This is going to be. I guess this will be the metatarsal, metacarpal. So this now, I suppose, if I go into pose mode and rotate that, yeah, it's supposed to rotate. We want to make sure all our parent child. This is not a child of that. And we keep that set. There we go. That's a child. Everything is correctly set up so far, except this here needs to be a child of this here. This, offset, right? Gotta go back to pose mode, right? And then this tailbone, the guitar, that needs to be parented. Maybe I won't put it in right now. I guess I'll follow the tutorial series more or less correctly. So let's go back and edit mode and get rid of the tailbone for now. And so this one here, go down to there. So that's our body can be controlled by it all. Let's go back to pose mode. Yes, it's all correct here. All right, so there was supposed to be a hand control on here, if I remember correctly. So this will be our hand main, I suppose. So let's call this one hand main.l. This is going to be meta, is it index metatarsal? Metacarpal, metacarpal dot index dot L, and then let's duplicate that a few times. That's going to be metacarpal dot middle dot L. This is going to be metacarpal dot green dot L. This is going to be metacarpal dot little dot L. And each one of these, we're going to clear the rotation. And they should all be parented correctly already. They're not. Okay. And keep offset. Go back into close mode. Yep, there we go. And now we want to set the bones centers to be correct. I don't like how the roll angle is on these. All right, so this one, this is going to be control. There we go. There. This one is going to be here. This one here. I'm pressing control to put it at the center of our hand here. So it should align correctly. So I got it slightly off. The joint is up in there. All right, very good. So now I want to extrude that and put it at the center here. And I want all of these to be smaller. I'll do it at the end. So extrude that, control, put it here. Extrude that, control, put it here. Extrude that, control, put it here. Extrude, control, here. Extrude, control, here. All right. Extrude control here, 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 extrude control here. I'm going to take all of these to make them all skinnier, which I thought now. And this one here, we want to rotate it. So let's look at the axes on here. We want to see what things look like. I believe it is in this menu here. Right, so this one we want our elbow to bend on the x-axis. And this one we want our basically this no, I think that one we want it rotated forward. No, I think I'm going to have it rotated like this. So that's the x-axis is going to be rotated like that. Z-axis rotating forward and back. Then this one, the same, but this one here, x-axis to be pointing forward. So let's rotate on the x, we'll rotate on our wrist. And then the same with all of the, yes, the same with all of those. So what I'll do is I'll highlight everything here. And then I've got all of the finger bones selected. I need all the metacarpals selected. Then at the very end, select the hand. And then I believe it is it's the keystroke for roll. We want to do bone roll, shift in. So if we do shift in, then we can use the active bone and all the rolls that go along the same as the hand. Cool. So then we need, these will be named finger, right? So this will be finger.index.l. So little ring letter. I think what I can do is highlight all these finger bones. I can do a batch name. So edit batch name, find metacarpal, change that to finger. And I only want that in this selected, right? That did not work. Batch name, metacarpal, rename an object. What object? It's going to be armature bones. Bones. There we go. Metacarpal finger. Okay. All right. So now the finger index L. Yes. And I'm going to go ahead and let them be named 1, 2, 3 here. And this one 1, 2, 3. This one 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Carpal, and we need to do have a metacarpal for her bones. So what we'll do is duplicate that. Change the roll angle. And it's going to be quite a bit more like that. Okay, so this goes grab control about here. So where that first joint is, and then the next one is here, and then extrude control, just right there in the joint. Extrude control, put it in the joint. Okay, so this is going to be metacarpal dot foam dot L, and then oh my, I've named these all wrong. So then this is going to be finger dot foam dot L dot 001. We'll copy that name, and if we paste it here, I'll automatically make it number 2. Okay, so we've got all the hand bones set up. Then let us, I guess let's take everything here and do armature symmetrize. So now it should be the same on both sides. If I get into pose mode, rotate X, yes, rotate X, 4, here, rotate X. Yep, that's those what we expect. Rotate Z, goes forward and back. Right. Perfect. Okay. Now the last thing we need to do is get the legs going here. So I'm going to take that, duplicate it. I need to be in edit mode, duplicate it, like rotate it around. And there was some trick about rotating it from the side versus the front. I want the x-axis forward on here. And on the rest of them, I've got the x-axis pointing up. Here I've got the x-axis pointing forward, so I'm going to keep x-axis pointing forward wherever I can, wherever I can do that. Okay, so let's grab this here, that into there, grab, press Control, that, Control, place it there. That's actually, this is our hip here, and then our femur will start here. Place that inside the knee here. Straight that down, Control. So this is going to be called femur. This is going to be called fin.L, and that should be femur.L. In case you wonder how I'm selecting things, I'm using the right and left bracket. If you press right bracket, it selects the child of whatever bone you're on. If you press the left bracket, it finds the parent. So this is supposed to be I guess it's supposed to be a child of that. And keep offset. So if I take this and hit the right bracket, it goes to this other bone. It has two children, so it doesn't really know which way to go. But if I click this one and hit the left bracket, it'll go select that. It's the parent. And if I click the right bracket, it'll select the child. It really helps not to have to find the bone. If you're doing a bone chain, you can just be like, do something, bracket, do something, bracket. You have to do the bracket in the 3D window though. Okay, so let's see. That goes here. This needs to go forward just slightly. And then this needs to be extruded. This is going to be the foot, if I recall correctly. And then this will be our first metaparsal. So I'll call this foot.l. This right here will disconnect the bone, but it should still be a child of that. And we want to rotate the x-axis like that, because that's it's going to be rotating on this x-axis is up and down basically. This one here, oh yeah, this also needs its x-axis rotated by about 90 degrees. This, if that x-axis is wrong, that needs to be the x-axis pointing to the right or the left, which would be better. Looks like I've chosen to have x-axis pointing to her left. So I'm going to do the same thing with this one, and yes, that is the case. This one also, the x-axis pointing to our left. Yeah, I think that's. I was just thinking. Really, if you think about it, this one, if I rotate x in a negative direction like that, and then here I'm rotating x in a negative direction, it's the opposite. It's going forward, but it is going from the bone's perspective the same direction. So maybe that's fine. Okay, so that's foot. This is going to be metatarsal. Metatarsal dot v dot l. Knuckles here. Extrude, hit the control. That extrude control. There we go. So that's the big toe. So it's going to be. Right, I'm just going to be able to change that to toe. So I'm going to take that, duplicate it, duplicate it, duplicate it, and finally duplicate it. Okay, so this one is going to be metatarsal dot index dot l. This is going to be metatarsal dot middle dot l. This is going to be metatarsal green dot l. Finally, metatarsal little dot l. All right. I think I'm about ready to we'll take a break. Obviously, I'm really bad at anatomy. I don't actually remember. I think we've got one more joint here. We've got one there. And one here, if I remember correctly. Something about there. And finally here. This one, if I remember right, was actually missing a segments. Like the big toe and the little toe both only have two segments. The other toes have three. Um, Laugh at me if that turns out to be incorrect anatomy, but that's what I think it is without looking it up. So that's going to make it. All right, that was called index, and this is called, so these are called metatarsal, but they need to be called, that's their name, bones, metatarsal depot. Right, toe.index.l, beautiful. So now I'm going to take all of these bones again and make them not so fat, especially, I suppose, these. All right, now we can highlight the rest of everything. So we need to get the points and everything, symmetrize that across. So now we've got, I think we've got everything from the very first part of the all series. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the video here and go take a look, and then we'll come back and have another video later.